So hello, everybody. How are you? It's a beautiful day here in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I don't know where you're all coming from, but I am from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and I'm so excited that, excuse me, I have this half hour or however long you would like to connect with all of you. I'm excited to be here. What I'd like to do anytime I do any type of presentation is to first ask that wherever you are, put your feet on the ground, take your cell phone, put it on vibrate, put it upside down, kind of relax. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths, close our eyes and take 3 deep cleansing breaths. You can open your eyes whenever you want. See, I like to start that because I always like to invite everybody to be present and really give yourself the gift of time. This is a half hour that I've been asked to speak. I'm not going to talk the whole half hour, I promise you, but I'm going to do an introduction of who I am, the nonprofit that which contributions can be made. And then I'm going to do my introduction. And if you have any questions, I would really like to make this half hour all about you and what you want to talk about or you want to ask me. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you for having me. My name is Lisa Bien. I am a motivational speaker, TV host. These are all the things that I use to describe myself, but the thing I'm most proud about is the fact that I am a mom of 2 awesome kids, and I really learned how to love the person that I am today, and I'm continue to go on a journey of self-love and growth, and I hope that you can become a part of my journey as well. I work Monday through Friday, if you will, 9 to 5 at Acuity Healthcare. It is a long-term acute care hospital company that has 6 long-term acute care hospitals around the country. And we have a emergency rescue fund for employees who may have hardship throughout the year, excuse me. So, you know, with the hospitals and there being healthcare heroes right now, I thought it would be an appropriate opportunity to say, if you want to make a contribution, it would go to the emergency fund at my company, and it goes for a nurse or a clinician or whoever who needs some extra help with making their bills. So anyway, I will tell you a story. My life and my story really takes me back to when I was 2 years old and my parents got divorced. My parents got divorced and they made a decision, and that was their decision. And my father decided that at that point in time that he should not be present in my life. So my father leaving and not being involved in my life really impacted me. And it really made me feel that I wasn't good enough and I wasn't smart enough. And I always had this underlining feeling in my life that I wasn't pretty enough or smart enough. And so most of my life I spent having a sense of low self-esteem. And it was when I was at college in Temple University, I met an amazing professor. Her name was Dr. Jean Brody. And she came up to me one day and she said, you know, Lisa, she said, you're a really good student. If you would put a little more effort into it, you'd be an excellent student. And it was really the first time that somebody ever said that to me and acknowledged that I was smart enough and that I could work a little harder. And that confidence that she gave me really changed my life. She nominated me for a big award at the end of when I graduated from Temple University. And I remember standing up in front of hundreds of people accepting my award and thinking, wow, this is super cool, right? You know, here I went from, and that was the first time in my life that I felt good enough. It was the first time in my life that somebody really made me feel that I could do more than I was doing. And I made a promise to Dr. Jean Brody, that day that I was going to go back to school, which I did, and I got my master's degree, and I teach at Temple University for 16 years because my goal was to pay it forward and give it back, to be the same person that Dr. Jean Brody was for me. She tapped me on my shoulder and made me believe that I was smart enough, and therefore she gave me the courage to keep moving forward. So at Temple, I noticed that the women students would come up to me and say, Professor Bien, I can't wait to graduate. And I'd be like, why? Do you have a big job waiting for you? Oh my God, you must have a big job. That's why you can't wait to graduate. And they'd say, no, I want to get married. And I'd be like, what? Now listen, I am not against marriage at all. I have been married and divorced twice. I'm not against marriage, but I really wanted the women to understand that going down that road, going down that aisle was not necessarily the happiness aisle. So, and then I realized while I was teaching at Temple for 16 years, a lot of the students were taught, you go to school, you get a good job, you get married, and you live happily ever after, just the way that I was raised. And that's not what life is about. So I really felt that something was missing in the way that we were teaching our children. We were teaching them to go to school, but we weren't teaching them how to have the tough conversations, how to believe in ourselves. At the same time, I was also saying, wait a second, that's me. I don't really know how to have the tough conversations. So about 10 years ago, it was about definitely 10 years ago, my second divorce became final. I had to declare personal bankruptcy, and I lost my job all in 1 month. That was 10 years ago, all in 1 month. And, you know, they say adversity is our greatest teacher. It really, really was. And from that day on, since 10 years ago, I haven't stopped growing. I haven't stopped living my best life. And that is what I am on a mission to do. I'm on a mission to share the greatest journey I ever had in my life of self-love, self-awareness, just getting to know who I am and loving who I am and not listening to what other people told me that I was. The funny thing is that when I was at Temple, I always wanted to study journalism. I always wanted to be on TV, but I never thought I was pretty enough. So I went and I became a PR professional. So for almost 30 years, I was a PR professional, never thinking I was really pretty enough for TV. And then here I am teaching at Temple University for 16 years, seeing that I want to do more to help women. I want to do more to help the students. I don't want the students to just come to school and learn what's in the books. I wanted them to learn more about themselves, about life. So I went and I said to the provost at the university, I said, I want to help make a difference. I don't want to just come on campus and teach how to write a good press release. What else can I do? What more can I do? And she said, you need a platform. So then I started and I had my television show called Bouncing Back with Lisa Bien, and blossomed basically my whole career changed. I had my TV show called Bouncing Back with Lisa Bien that is the greatest gift in the world, because people come on and they share their stories with me about their adversity that they've faced, and they share the real challenges that they've overcome, because my mission is to really help everybody see that we all have something that we feel we're not good enough, we're not something enough, we're not smart enough. So I go and I am a motivational speaker, and I'm on WPHL Channel 17, and I offer tips, motivational tips, because my goal is to remind everybody that we are smart enough, we are pretty enough, we were just born enough. But we forget that. In everyday life, we forget just how incredibly awesome we are. So I'm here today. We have a half hour, or we can go as longer as you want, to really just share some tips or information, whatever you would like, or if you want to just ask questions. If you have questions for me, you can ask. Francine, you look like you have a question. You look like you're going to. So does anybody have anything that they want to ask? Because I know we build this as Ask Lisa. All right, I'll ask you guys a question then. How about we do that? I want you to close your eyes and think about the 5 things that you are most grateful for. Think about the 5 things you are most grateful for. Or I even take that back. Don't close your eyes. Take out a piece of paper. Write down a list of the 5 things that you are most grateful for in your life. Think about that. Because I find that when we live in gratitude, it's when we really enjoy and appreciate and have a positive attitude on life. 5 things. Anybody want to share their list of 5 things that they're most grateful for? We have a quiet group. Anybody? Or are you still working on your list? Still working on your list? Okay. I think the gratitude list is a great exercise. Anybody done their list that wants to share? You can talk. I meant to tell you, take yourself off mute. Let me see. Who wants to talk? There's somebody trying to talk in the chat. Let's see. Andrea Schwartz says her gratitude list is healthy family. She's healthy, family, friends, good group of coworkers, and having a roof over her heads. That's awesome. Sorry. Oh, you can talk, Andrea. I'm going to be quiet now. Are you there?
I think AJ unmuted themselves. AJ, did you want to say something to Lisa?
Yeah, I can go. Yes, I am very grateful for my job and my home being in a great place when I had to be quarantined. My children, my dog, and my very few close friends.
That's awesome. And how often, your name is AJ?
Yeah.
Hi, AJ. It's nice to meet you.
You too, Lisa.
How often do you look at your gratitude list?
You know, I run through it mentally probably like once a day. You know, depends whether it's when I get up and the mood I'm in or before I go to bed. And it, you know, those are like the core things, you know, but there might be something in a day that, you know, happens that, you know, I got takeout that was really good or something, you know, like that.
So anybody, that's great. You know, I'm a big morning person, AJ. So I use the morning as my gratitude time. So I use the morning to start my day in gratitude, and then I end my day in gratitude. Because people say a lot, they'll say, why are you, like my kids tease me all the time. They're like, how can you be in a good mood? And most of the time I really work on being in a good mood because it's important to me. But I believe that when we sit down and we actually write down what we're grateful for and we look at it. I don't know, for me, it processes better when I'm writing it. So in the morning, I start my journal. I have a gratitude journal in the morning and a gratitude journal at night. And then it helps me kind of bookend my day. Anybody else have something they want to share? Anybody else want to share their gratitude? Okay, so is there a topic? I can give you a couple different topics that we can talk about. One of the things I've been talking a lot about lately with my healthcare workers is the importance of taking care of our mental health during COVID-19 and being quarantined. You know, we are in week 13, here we are, and I think everybody has had a very personal experience with COVID-19, and we can talk about, I can give you reminders and the importance of taking care of your mental health. We can talk about how do we move forward, how do we pivot. You know, now the state is opening. I'm speaking to folks thinking that you're from New Jersey, and I apologize if you're not all from New Jersey, but, you know, I know that Pennsylvania, New Jersey, excuse me, are opening up. I know in Philadelphia right now, you can go eat outside. If you want to sit outside, find a restaurant, and good luck with you can get a seat. But So I know that there's a lot of concerns as we move forward and we change, and it's a constant world of change that we're living in right now. Does anybody have any thoughts on what they would like to talk about? Anybody have any questions? Anything you want to share? Okay, so what we can do is go through mental health reminders and the importance of mental health, why we're going through COVID-19. How about we do that, and then you guys can ask me any questions you may have?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Okay, so what I have been doing and reminding folks is to really pay attention and be present to what you're putting in your mind. Focus on what you can control. Focus on what you can control, because when I first heard of COVID-19, I remember thinking, that's in China. It's not going to come here. It never really dawned on me that we would be faced with COVID-19. And here we are 13 weeks into it. And what I've learned from this whole experience is that our mind is extremely powerful. And if we let ourselves go and spiral in a certain way, it's easy to do that, right? So I remember when COVID first started, I remember getting a sore throat and thinking, oh my God, a sore throat, that's one of the symptoms. I have to take my temperature. So literally I took my temperature every single day for almost, 2 or 3 days in the week, because I was literally thinking I have a sore throat. That's gonna, I'm gonna have COVID. And so what I really practiced is focusing on a headache does not mean it's COVID. So I really practice and continue to practice on being very mindful and being very aware of what I allow in my mind on a regular basis. So that's one tip that I would say is really, really important every single day. We started with the breathing exercise. The breathing exercise isn't so incredibly important. So during the day, you're starting to feel stressed. Sometimes during the day, if I'm starting to feel stressed and I'm having a moment, because we all have moments. That's all it is. It's a moment. Doesn't mean it's your whole day. You have somebody says something to you. You have to really work through it to make sure that it doesn't create your whole day. So if you're having a moment, remember to breathe. Take your three deep breaths. I like to place my hand over my heart sometimes, just to remind myself that it's just okay and it's just a moment. And then I think about, what am I thinking about? What am I focusing on? What am I allowing in my mind right now? What am I allowing in my mind right now? You really have to think hard sometimes. Why am I allowing somebody to put this negativity, or why am I allowing myself to this negativity in my mind? God, the first couple of weeks of COVID-19, it was all about the stories of the people that were dying, the shortage of ventilators. There was a lot that we had to process. There was a lot that we have to still process. We still have to make decisions based on, are we going to go out? How are we going to live our life? Because COVID's here. It's not going away for a really long time. It's like someone that comes to your house to visit. They come to visit, and you're like, all right, I'm not sure, they can stay a while, but now COVID's here, and we have to learn how to live with COVID. So we have to really focus on taking care of our mental health during COVID-19, because COVID added a layer of stress to our life. Life can be stressful if we make it every day. Who's going to get the kids to where they need to go? Are we going to have the money to pay the mortgage? Are we going to be able to go on vacation? All these questions, little things. I got to go to the doctors. Maybe you weren't feeling well. I have a couple of friends who have cancer. So on top of being sick, on top of having cancer, now they have to have COVID-19. So we really need to take care and protect our mental health and what we allow in our minds. I always say, and I always remind people to always strive for goodness. Strive for goodness in yourself and not perfection, because nobody's perfect. So pay attention to what you're allowing in your mind. Who's saying what? 10 years ago, you could say something to me and it would just ruin my day. It would hurt my feelings. I was sensitive. I had to learn how to really protect my mind and protect my heart, because people can be mean and people can say things and we can take things the wrong way and process the things the wrong way. So I used to mentally visualize a wall or something between myself and that person and my brain, so that nobody could say something and hurt me. So Dina, if you want to talk, Dina, you can absolutely talk. I welcome people to talk. Dina says, go ahead, Dina.
Oh, I was just saying, you triggered a thought in my mind as you were speaking about, so to the point of, keeping yourself sane during this time or any time in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially during these times, I'm finding that limiting my exposure to social media and television has helped me kind of protect my peace in a way, because I think when you're overexposed, your mind tends to race a lot. And I've even gotten to the point where I can't sleep at night, because
Mm-hmm.
my mind is just racing with all these thoughts that, that my head is filled with current things that are going on, or, other things in life. So you got to find a way to turn it off sometimes.
Excellent point. Excellent point. In fact, I was on PHL this Monday and I said the exact same thing. You have to limit your social media. And I think what has happened is that we use social media as our hobby. We have downtime, right? So what are we going to do with all this downtime? So what I do social media for my company. So I go on twice a day. What I was getting into a bad habit is checking social media first thing in the morning. So creating healthy habits around social media and the news content is really important. It's so incredibly critical. And I would even add to limit your taking the news in, but make sure you're paying attention to what news you are consuming. Pay attention to what news you are consuming, because there's a lot of folks, unfortunately, that go on social media and they click on something, they think it's accurate news, and they take it as credible news. We really have to do due diligence even more now than ever before. You got to stay on top of it. In the beginning, I only went to the CDC. I followed the CDC guidelines. The CDC says to wear a mask, I wear a mask. So I really decided, where was I going to get my news? But Deanna, it's interesting because I always make this analogy. Excuse me. What they did with COVID-19, what happened for me with COVID is I got very focused on how many people were dying, how many people were in the hospital, and I work for a hospital, so I was constantly talking about COVID. What I had to do is convince myself that just because if I were to get COVID, because some of my friends got it, doesn't mean that I'm going to die right away. And so what I had to remind myself is that, and I've heard this analogy, I think Tony Robbins does this analogy, that we go on 295, we go on highways and we drive our car, right? 70 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour. You're going fast on a highway. You got cars to your left, cars to your right, if you're in the center lane. The only thing that's really keeping you and another car apart is a white line or a yellow line. And think about how many drivers are on the road driving, tired, maybe even drunk, maybe even texting. You probably have a greater chance of having something happen to you if you're driving versus if you do everything the CDC says and protect yourself and wash your hands and wear a mask. So I kind of have to remind myself of that there's things that we can be thinking of every single day if we really put our mind to it, right? Does that make sense?
Sorry, I muted myself. Yes, I'm completely following you. For me, and I don't live paranoid, but I agree with you with the control factor. You can't, you've got to, let go on some things, control the things you can. Like you said, do your due diligence with, like you said, with your exposure to the right information, with taking care of yourself, if it's washing your hands, wearing a mask, and doing what's best for you, for your own, clarity and sanity. I'm not really one to be pressured by other people. I kind of do what's best for me. But, you know, this illness, even with everything slowly opening back up, I'm still going to, you know, kind of follow guidelines. I'm still concerned that, I mean, we're not through this, you know, it's not over. So, and I recognize that, but you can't, you're using the analogy, I love that, about the lines on the road, but I feel like though you still can't always trust people to do the right thing. So you've got to stay in your lane sometimes, and you follow the rules and do what's best and makes you feel safe. Or maybe avoid those people that are driving 85 miles an hour down the freeway. You know, get away from them, get out of the way, get out of the lane then, you know. So and you know, I just think that it's best to do what's best for you, as long as it doesn't infringe on someone else's rights, or you know, someone else, yeah, exactly, on someone else's rights.
Well, I love what you said about staying in your lane. I'm going to steal that from you or borrow that from you if it's okay, because
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, because it's true. Stay in your lane and do what you can do. And I always say, focus on what you can control, right? And I got to say, when COVID first happened, I thought, you know, maybe 15 years ago, somebody said to me, you know, there's no control. And I remember looking at her and I said, excuse me? She's like, we have no control. You think there's control, but there's no control. And I really had to like wrap my head around it, you know, and I was like, well, she's kind of right, because sometimes we have a hard time even thinking of controlling what we put in our mind, right? And what we say to ourselves. We can't control anybody else. So really, what level of control is there? And you're right, we can do what we can do. I say focus on what you can do, and be diligent about what you can do, and make decisions that are good for you. You're absolutely right. And I love the fact that you said, I'm not one to be swayed, right? So
Correct.
I actually have a friend who in the beginning of this was like, it's overhyped. She was going out, she was shopping, she wasn't wearing a mask. And that was okay. I respect that. But you know what? We are opening our state in New Jersey, and they are going to allow dining on Monday. I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to go out to a restaurant. I probably won't go out to eat in a restaurant with other people until we have a vaccine. And that's a decision that I'm making for myself. My son, who's 16 years old, wants to go to the Jersey Shore. I said, you're not going to the Jersey Shore until we see what's happening for the next couple of weeks, because the shore is packed.
Right. No, I feel the same way. I mean, that's what kind of is where I'm at mentally with this whole thing, is that, you know, for those people that feel confident enough, I say go for it. But for myself and my husband, those are the only two people in my household, you know, we feel that we're going to, you know, be cautious, you know, keep following the rules, and, you know, we're not hurting anybody by doing so. And, you know, that makes me feel a little bit safer. But I agree with you. I don't know that I will be, you know, I'll slowly put myself back out into society once, you know, maybe it will be once there's a vaccine. I don't know how long that's going to take. You know, that's concerning to me. And at the end of the day, you know, it's, you know, will we feel safe, you know, getting a vaccine, and
Right.
We don't know what side effects it will have, or, you know, whatever. And I don't want to get myself upset about that right now. We have to be in this moment where we're at right now. So, but I completely agree with you.
I think it's important to remember what you just said. It's be in the moment. And I think that we all have to really, it's interesting. If there's anything that I've learned from this whole experience, is that in a moment, our life can change, right? Because I remember being at work on the 11th of March, doing a presentation on customer service skills, and coming home the next day, and I was planning a trip. I was supposed to like leave a week later on a business trip. And my boss said, I think we're going to have to monitor the situation. You might not be able to travel. And I thought, what? Like, what's happening? Like, I knew there was a case in LA, you know, and there was a couple, you know, this is like on the tip of New York. And then all of a sudden it was like, bam. But getting back to the original point, I definitely think that while we're going through all this, it's really important to remember to take care of ourselves. And I think I talk about self-care all the time. My mom used to say to me, if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. And I believe in that 150%. And so I remind women all the time, and I would ask you, when's the last time you did something just for you, even during COVID-19?
Honestly, I mean, I don't have any children or anything, and I don't have any pets anymore. It's my husband and myself. So I'm not going to lie. I probably do things for myself on a fairly regular basis. I guess
That's
it's
good.
it's a blessing and a curse, so to speak, because when you don't have many people in your life to care for, you have the time, if you do it, I mean, if, let's be honest, if spas or salons were open, my normal routine is to at least go for maybe a facial once every 3 months, or to go and have a massage. So I'm lucky that I'm able to do self-care on a regular basis, because it's just me and my husband, and we can focus on those things because we have the time and we have the means to be able to do so.
So I'm going to challenge you with a little bit with that answer, if you don't mind, since you're
Sure.
you're being my verbal person, and anybody that wants to chime in, please do. But here's what I say about self-care, and I love what you said. You're like, I do a facial. I do facials too, and I don't do it as often, but I do facials. To me, there's nothing better than a good facial and a good massage, all in the same day. But anyway, but to me, self-care is every day. Self-care is something that we practice.
Like meditation or something, or exercise, or I mean, and I have been, and since, especially so since the coronavirus has occurred, I'm not exercising as much. Meditation, I actually had taken a class through the Art of Living. I don't know if you're familiar with them at all. They focus on meditation, and I went through this seminar with them a while back. That's what kind of helped me realize or try to gain more focus and control over my thoughts when my mind would race or when I couldn't sleep at night. And when I was part of their group, I was actively meditating each morning when I get up. They have a breathing technique that they use. So I think that's kind of more what you're talking about for self-care versus physical, like going out and getting a facial massage, stuff for your mental clarity, and for physical well-being. Maybe it's just a matter of eating well and taking vitamins.
I was just going to say that. Thank you. I was just going to say that, because what I've learned during COVID-19 is that the self-care for me I've become better at self-care since being home. I'm eating better. I'm taking more vitamins. There's a vitamin, I can't, it just lost my mind, but there was a vitamin that they said originally, it said, oh, it's proven to, or it can help you not get COVID-19. I forget, it was elderberry.
I got on that too. I did the same thing.
Right. So they're like, elderberry, if you take elderberry, maybe you won't get COVID-19, and don't take Advil. So I threw all my Advil out and I went and I bought my elderberry, right? And I started taking elderberry, and I was drinking water, and I became like a health fiend, because I was like, I'm not going to get it. And the way that we can take care of ourselves is be well, have good nutrition, take care of ourselves. So I have really committed to walking every day. I walk 2.5 miles every single day since COVID started. I put my mask on and I get up and I go and I walk. And it's been such an eye-opening experience for me, because, to be honest, hearing the stories about the folks that, were the high risk, it's like, I didn't want to be on that list of a high risk. Does that make sense? So,
total. I'm right with you.
So I think self-care is really important. I think there's so much that goes into self-care. The breathing exercises that we did, writing in your journal, protecting your mind. I have things, when I talk to my healthcare workers, I say the 3 Ps: protect your mind, prepare for what you need, think about what it is you need, and then don't forget to play. Don't forget to have some fun, because I think what we're forgetting to do during this time too is laugh and just enjoy ourselves. That it's okay to laugh. It's okay to find joy, even when there's things happening around the world, in the country, in your state, but in your home, and in your heart and in your mind, it's so important to find joy and something to celebrate. We have to celebrate who we are and what we're doing here and why we're here. We need that.
I agree. The other thing I found has been very helpful for me during this time is to do for others.
Yes.
I by nature, that's how I'm wired. So even because I think a lot of us has felt hopeless and we don't know what to do. And a lot of people who have been either out of work entirely or working from home, you just feel like, what can I do? What at a personal level? And this is going to sound kind of corny, but there was a New Jersey pandemic show on TV with all, musicians and whatnot. And John Bon Jovi has a song out, and when you can't do what you do what you can. Basically, is what the song is about. And it kind of struck home, and I was like, that's right. So that gives you hope to just do something. If something local, find a family that's in need at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess for me, that's what I did. I looked for ways that I could do for others, and it was like a twofold thing where I'm helping someone else, it's making their life better, and it makes me feel good to do good. So that helps me keep my peace as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's funny because that's what happened for me too. I was like, what can I do? I was working when it first happened because I work for, a healthcare company. I was working, 10, 11-hour days because it was so much was going on, and we had to change so much, and just conference calls, etc. And then literally like week 6, I remember like sticking my head up and saying, wow, so this is what the world looks like, And I think the first 6 weeks I was so busy with work that it didn't maybe impact me as much. And then afterwards I was like, well, what can I do? And so I always say lean into what you can do and what you're good at, and I used to do stand-up comedy, and I'm very funny, excuse me, and I love to help inspire people, especially women. I like to remind folks, to take care of themselves, be the best version of who they are. And so I said, well, let me do a Saturday morning class. So I was doing a Saturday morning, excuse me, class for every hour, for an hour in the first month. And then I switched it to a different time. And I actually call it Ask Lisa, and it's Ask Lisa. It's every Thursday night at 7:00. So you're welcome to join every Thursday night at 7:00. And the goal is to get on the phone, get on Zoom call with some people that you don't know, meet some new people, and just talk about life. Or I have special guests this week. My special guest is Sharon Leah. She's a singer-songwriter, and she's going to come on and talk about her song and what inspired her, and just remind people that this is a temporary situation. It really is. We're not going to have COVID forever. It's going to go away. I mean, it's not going to go away, but we're going to eventually get a vaccine. We're learning more and more about this every single day. I don't wipe down my groceries anymore like I used to. In the beginning, I was wiping down all my groceries, and everybody was telling me I was, what do you, my fiance was like, why are you wiping down the groceries? I was like, because it says you can get it that way. And now it's, they're coming out with more and more information. So, I think that what we all need to stick together and continue to move forward and give, like you said, pay it forward and do what we can do for our mental health and for other people's mental health, because this is the time now when you can never be too kind, but I think the world really needs some extra kindness right now.
Agreed.
What I will leave you with then, I guess, is to remember to focus on what you can handle, what you can control, if there is control. I want to share some caring behaviors I think are fun. I've been sharing caring behaviors with my team at the hospital. I've been challenging people to give people they love a hug, but not just a hug for 20 seconds. So give your spouse or whoever you're quarantined with or whoever you feel comfortable with hugging for 20 seconds, because that hug will make you feel so much better than just the regular, oh, hi, hug, and what's for dinner. So caring behaviors are really, really important all the time, but I think even more so now than ever before. We need to let people know that we're here for them, just like we were talking about. Take time to remind your friends and family that you love them. Take time to remind your friends and your family that you love them. Call an old friend, somebody you haven't called maybe in a while. Say hi, how you doing, checking in on you. I think that that's what we really need to focus on for ourselves, is to take care of ourselves and take care of the people we love and remind them that we're here for them. Think about the last time that you called somebody, not for any particular reason, just to say hi. I just called to say I love you. Hi, just called to say I love you. Can really make someone's day. Or send a note, handwritten note. When this first happened, I started writing handwritten notes. Good old snail mail, because I wanted people to remember to smile. I wanted to be that person that makes somebody smile. Look for the bright spots in your day. See if you can find 3 bright spots every day. Wake up in the morning, start your day. Think about how you create your morning. I say create your morning, you create your day, create your week, create your month, create your year. And you and only you have the power to make that happen. You can make it a good day, or you can make it not such a good day. You can continue, if you have a cycle of negativity in your life, you can continue that negativity, or you can change it. I will leave you with this. I will leave you with the fact that I will challenge you to change whatever's not working for you to create your very best life, because you deserve it. Not only do you deserve it, but you owe it to yourself to have your best life.